Are you struggling with consistency in your golf swing? Do you feel like you're making the same mistakes over and over? Well, in this video, I'm gonna walk you through a complete step-by-step guide to help you build a smooth, powerful, and repeatable golf swing, one that you can trust every time that you set up to the ball. So let's get right into it. So here's what I'm gonna cover in today's video. I'm gonna start by giving you a warm-up routine and some quick exercises to do before you start playing. Then I'll talk about the pre-shot routine and the steps involved in that. After that, I'm going to talk about the grip and how you can get the perfect grip so you can maximize control, power, and most importantly, rotation. And then we'll get into club rotation a little bit more so you have an understanding how the grip impacts club rotation on the way back. And then we'll talk about the setup position at address so you have the correct setup for every shot. And then we'll talk about the first move away during the backswing so you know how to start the backswing properly and avoid early mistakes. And then we'll get into the backswing even more and all the key checkpoints that you'll want to look for during the backswing. And then we'll transition into the downswing and some key mistakes that you want to avoid. All right, let's get started with some simple warm-up routine exercises.
I like to start with 2 clubs in my hand, and I use these more for weight purposes. I address the ball like I normally do, and I start by doing about 6 half swings. And you'll see that this is really just designed to get loose and get the muscles warmed up, get the blood flowing a little bit. And I'm just going back and forth about 6 times to start. Next, after that, I go side to side 6 times. So that's right after the initial half swing, going side to side 6 times, getting my mid and my lower back warmed up. The same tempo as before, just going back and forth. Next, you'll see that I go into a full swing. Okay, I'm doing 6 full range motion swings here. I'm starting to get a little bit more speed with my swing as I get warmed up, really getting the blood flowing and the muscles going during these full swings. And then next I go to get my shoulders warmed up. I'm going back and forth 6 times again with the same tempo, going back and forth between my left and my right shoulder, getting a good stretch. And then lastly here, I move to the full body turns, and I'm going to finish off with a real good stretch going back and forth that way. In this video, let's break down and talk about your pre-shot routine and your address to the ball. I'm going to walk you through what I do each time I hit a shot. As you develop and improve your game, you want a pre-shot routine as well. If you watch the pros on tour, they have the same pre-shot routine just about every time. So I'm going to walk you through my routine and break it down into 6 steps. The first thing I like to do is come from behind the ball and step into the shot after I've visualized my shot. In your mind, you want to see yourself having already executed the shot you're trying to hit before you actually hit the ball. This will help build confidence during your swing. Secondly, after I've seen the executed shot in my mind, I approach the ball and grip the club with both hands and set the club behind the ball. I set the club behind the ball and make sure my club face is pointed at my target. The reason I do this is to help me aim better. Third, after I've aimed the club face properly, I turn my head and take a look at the target to make sure it's aimed correctly. Now, the 4th step, once you have your club head pointed at your target, now you want to align your body and your feet to the club face. Let me repeat, you want to align your body and feet to the club face, not the target. As a 5th step, when I'm over the ball, I like to do a little waggle to get comfortable. I lift the club face up over the ball and double check to make sure my body, club face, and target are all in sync with one another. And lastly, once you feel comfortable with your position and stance, try not to spend more than a second or 2 over the ball before you begin your swing. Good golfers play with confidence, and thinking too long over the ball will start to shake your confidence. So let's recap quickly now that you've seen the entire setup. Number 1, visualize your shot and step into the ball from behind. Step into the shot from behind the ball. 2, approach the ball with both hands on the club and aim the club face at your target. 3, look at your target to make sure your club face is aimed correctly. 4, aim your body and feet to the club face. 5, do a little waggle over the ball to get comfortable and look at the target again to make sure your body, feet, and club face are all aligned. And 6, execute with confidence. Don't stand over the shot too long.
Alright, now if you notice I put my hand on the club here and my thumb goes right down the center of the shaft, okay? you can see that the grip is in my fingers, just under the butt of my left hand. Now I'll show you what a weak grip looks like. When I take my hand and I put it more to the left, see where my thumb is now? It's more in my palm as opposed to my fingers, right? So that's what we call a weak grip, is when it's more in your palm as opposed to your fingers, okay? Now when you have a weak grip, watch what happens to the club halfway back when I bring it back. The club face opens up, okay? And when it comes through impact, it's going to be open as well. So this is what we call a weak grip, right? It's a little bit more in your hand as opposed to your fingers, and for demonstration purposes, since I've got the camera in one hand, it's a little difficult to show you this, but notice how it's more in the palm as opposed to in the fingers. Okay, so on the way back, it's going to open up a lot more, which is going to make you cause you to hit a fade, cut across the ball, and slice it more. So that's a weak grip. So with a strong grip, right, where my left hand is a little bit more over like this, notice when the club comes back, how the club face closes, right? So on the way through, you're going to be more prone to hooking it with the club face closed at impact. Okay, now a normal grip, a straight shot should be with your left hand straight down the shaft. Again, a weak grip going to cause you to fade or cut. Strong grip cause you to hook or draw.
Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm going to give you a couple of extremely helpful tips on how to improve your grip so you can hit more consistent shots. The grip is actually one of the most important pieces of the golf swing, so you definitely don't want to miss what I'm about to share. If you don't have a proper grip, you're likely going to struggle with accuracy, with consistency, and even proper club rotation. What I'm about to share are tips that can be used with any of your clubs and with the majority of your shots. So stick with me and let's get right into the content. And if this is your first video, my name is Mario. I'm a scratch golfer and I give you tips, strategies, and techniques on how to improve your golf game. So I think it's important to understand why we're doing this in the first place. You need to understand natural tendencies of your arm rotation to understand how to grip the club properly. You might be asking, like, what do you mean? Well, let me explain. Well, depending on the starting position of your arms and your hands at address, your results can vary greatly. So for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna imagine that you're gripping the club. This is what I see a lot of golfers doing, which means you have somewhat of a strong grip where your right hand is too far on the right side of your club. This isn't a bad grip, but it's just not ideal for a straight shot. Now, let's bring the club back as if we're taking the club away. Now, when I stop the video, notice how the natural tendency of the hand, specifically the top of the hand, is to curl upwards as the arm goes back. Well, when that curl happens, the club face is actually closing on the way back. And when the club face closes, now you're more likely to hit a draw or a hook. You can make the best takeaway of your life, one that you think is perfectly on path and in line and in rhythm with how you want to swing. But the truth is that the laws of physics are kind of working against you at this point. And on the flip side of that, now let's take a look at what happens when your hand is too far over on the top of your club as you start your swing. This would mean that you have a weak grip. So let's bring your hand back along the takeaway and notice how the tendency of the hand in this position is for the bottom of the wrist to expose itself. The bottom of the wrist curls under and up. Well, now the club face is open on the way back. And now your tendency is likely going to be to come through impact with an open face, and you're likely going to either slice or fade the ball. So with these two backswings, I essentially made the same motion backwards, but I found myself in two very different positions. Look at how different these positions are when I compare the two. And all of it is really a direct result of how I started gripping the club from the address position. So here's what I would suggest you do for more consistency. Focus on ensuring that the creases that your thumb and your index fingers make are pointed towards the center of your chest. If they're pointed towards your right shoulder, that works too. Just make sure that they're not pointed outside of your right shoulder. In this position, you won't be too weak or too strong, and it'll allow for a proper club rotation on the way back. One other thing you might want to avoid is gripping the club too much in the palm of your hands, like I have on the screen. That takes away from the ability to manipulate and maneuver the club easily on the way back. I would also focus on making sure that you do the interlock grip. There's a couple of different grip techniques out there, like the interlock and the overlap grip. I've always personally been a big fan of the interlock grip because I think it just gives you a more granular level of control compared to the overlap grip. And lastly, I would suggest that you grab my free PDF that I've attached for you here. It's a 10-step guide called Grip It Like a Pro, and it has step-by-step instructions along with pictures that you can reference at each step along the way on how to grip the club properly with the interlock grip for more consistent results. What I've shared today is really just the first step of many, and there's a lot more to learn and explore around the grip. In today's video, I'm going to give you a super simple yet very powerful technique that you'll want to do before you even start your backswing. It's actually one of the most effective techniques that was taught to me years ago that will help smooth out your backswing and put your swing into a nice and smooth rhythm. So if your backswing feels choppy or inconsistent, stick with me because I'm going to share a very simple technique that really any golfer can use. So let's get right into the content. A while back, I posted a video on my YouTube channel that talks about setting your hands forward at the address position. That video got almost 38,000 views since it was first published. People really loved it. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I'll link it here for you. That video is really about helping you get into a nice setup position and how to start your backswing. But one thing that really isn't that clear that I wanted to make sure that I talked about is that quick forward press that you probably saw, but maybe you didn't notice it. It's really important. I talked about how you can be even with the ball at address, or if you want to put your hands slightly ahead of the ball, even better. But either way, with whatever position that you choose, one thing that you'll want to definitely do is make that small press forward. Now, take a look at the real-time video I'm showing you on the screen. I'm going to play a real-time video and then I'll slow it down a bit to talk about what I'm referring to. Did you see that? Did you see that quick press of the hands forward? Well, it's actually really important. That quick press of the hands forward is what helps set your club into a forward press position, and it helps initiate your swing. It's so subtle and quick that it's hard to even notice. It happens in the blink of an eye. It's the quick move of the hands forward into the forward press position, which helps start the swing and puts it into motion and ultimately in rhythm. That slightest bit of a second allows you a moment to just feel your hands, to feel your weight distribution, to feel your arms all working together, to feel your hands and your wrists getting into position. It gives you just a split second to adjust your swing if it didn't start absolutely perfect. And if you're like me, it doesn't start perfect all the time. But that move puts the upper body and your arms into motion, and it helps set that rhythm of the swing. Try it out. Try a quick press forward and then back. And comment below if you want me to do a follow-up on the mistakes you want to avoid during this move. But if you've tried this and you're still struggling and need some more helpful tips, I've created a guide for you with 5 simple tips for a perfect takeaway. If you want it, it's totally free. You can download it by clicking the link below, but it gives you 5 areas to focus on during your backswing to help improve your backswing and your takeaway. And if this I've actually got 2 balls set up here. I'm going to show you a front view and a side view as to what the proper setup should look like with your arm. So when you're setting up to the ball, what's worked for me is really having my left arm straight at address, right like that. Okay, let me show you what that looks like from the side view. When you're setting up, you want your left arm relatively straight right here, and then your right arm is going to be just kind of loose and a little bit dangling, but enough to hold on to the club right here. So this is what the side view should look like. And this is what the front view should look like.
Work on that. That's going to help you have a better setup every time. I'm going to give you kind of a front view and a side view as to what your right arm should look like at address. So I've got my two balls set up here. Got my left arm is going to be straight. Now when I put my right hand on the club, you're going to want it slightly bent, okay, slightly, I guess, loose at address, but you want it just slightly bent, okay? I'm going to show you what that looks like from the side view. Okay. You want your left arm straight, and then you want your right arm right like this, just slightly bent. Okay. If you were to put a club or a stick, you would hit my left arm, not my right. I see a lot of amateurs with the right arm over the top. Okay. You want to be able to see your left arm from the side view, right like that.
In this video, I'm diving into whether you should keep your club face open before your takeaway or keep it square to the target. If you're unsure about your setup, if you're battling inconsistent shots, or if you're trying to fix a frustrating slice, this video is definitely for you. And stick with me, I'll share the by the book textbook answer that most instructors will give, and then I'll tell you what I think you should do. So let's get right into the content. So I posted a video on my YouTube channel about why having your hands forward at address is so important, and I'll link that video above if you want to take a look at it. In the video, I explained how a forward press helps eliminate variables and simplifies things at address and during the swing for you. But when you move your hands forward at address, it actually opens the club face. And that led to some really great questions about whether you should keep your club face open before the takeaway or square it up to the target. So the short answer is, it really depends. It really comes down to what type of shot you're trying to hit. If you're looking to hit a higher shot with a fade or a slice, then keeping it slightly open is what you want to do. Now, if you're looking to hit a lower shot with a draw or a hook, then you're going to want to keep it square or slightly closed at address. But here's the deal with keeping the club face open. There are pros and cons to it. The pros would be that it adds loft to the club, which can help you have a higher ball flight. It can promote better body rotation with your hands leading the way, and it sets you up nicely for a smooth transition into a full swing. Now, the cons are that you increase your risk of slicing the ball if you're not careful. Your timing has to be on point, to square the club face at impact, and it can lead to inconsistent contact if you're not used to it. The by the book technical answer that most instructors will share is that you should probably square it up and not keep it open. But here's my honest opinion. Having a slightly open club face before your takeaway really isn't that big of a deal. If your club face is slightly open, say 2 to 5 degrees open because of a forward press, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Now, if your club face is sitting 30 or 45 degrees or 75 degrees open, that's a whole different story. But a few degrees like I'm sharing on the screen really isn't something to stress about. If you're curious about what you should focus on before your takeaway, I've created a 5-step guide for you that I want you to have. Just click the link below, enter your email, and it's all yours. So to sum it up, your takeaway position and your first move away from the ball are way more important than worrying about a slightly open club face angle at address. As long as it's not wildly open, you're fine. Focus on crushing that takeaway instead. If you like.
In this video, we're going to talk about your first move away from the ball. Address the ball using a club and stand over it with an athletic stance with your knees slightly bent. Feet shoulder width apart, weight evenly distributed between your 2 feet, like I do in the video. Address the ball like you're going to hit it, and then I want you to take your club away and set it aside like I do. Now, I want you to get in that same setup position, but without the club in your hands. Your arms should be hanging straight down, and I want you to bring them together. Make believe you have the club in your hands, and what we're going to do is practice your first move back a number of times, but without the club in our hands. We need you to perfect the takeaway feeling before we start using the club. We need you to understand what it feels like to take the club away from address. Most people don't take the time to understand what a good takeaway feels like. Practice like you play. Practice taking your hands away and shifting your weight to the inside of your right foot. Make sure your weight is planted against your right side on the way back. Just take the club back to the 730 position practice it over and over and over again. Stop and check and hold your position on the way back to let your mind consciously understand what's going on. Now notice how my takeaway is compact and tight. My weight shift goes back with my hands. Notice how my head moves from right over the ball to a little behind the ball. It doesn't move much, not much more than maybe an inch or two. And then once you feel confident with this drill, practice using the club. So go after that same feeling. Do this hundreds of times without actually hitting the ball. A good rule of thumb, when you're on the range, hit one ball for every 10 practice swings doing this drill. Practice this a number of times and I guarantee you'll nail the takeaway.
In this video, I'm going to give you 2 simple tips on what your left arm should be doing during the backswing. If you're frustrated, if you're confused, if you're struggling with inconsistency with errant shots, be sure to stick around because in this video, I'm also going to give you 2 mistakes that I commonly see with beginner and average golfers. So let's get right into it. I see a lot of golfers making a couple of really big mistakes during their backswing, specifically with their left arm. And the first mistake that I see is that their left arm isn't dominant. If you look at any really good golfer out there, their left arm is the one driving the arms away from the body. The left arm should be the one guiding the arms on the swing path backwards. Think of your left arm as the lead arm and the right arm as the trailing arm. So check and see which arm is dominant during your swing. Is your right arm doing all the heavy lifting or is it just along for the ride? I created a video on what your right arm should be doing during the backswing. I'll link that one here for you if you're curious to check it out. The second mistake that I commonly see is not keeping your left arm straight throughout the swing. Try and avoid breaking your left arm. Good golfers aren't breaking their left arm during their backswing. They're keeping it as straight as possible. So let me show you what I'm talking about with the visual. Let's take a look at the visual that I have on the screen. If we start from setup, notice how the left arm is straight at the address position. I've actually made a video on what your left arm at address should look like as well, so feel free to check that one out. I've also linked that one. Now, as the swing starts, notice how the left arm stays straight. It's not bending or breaking. And as we go back, the left arm is still straight halfway through the backswing. And then as we get to the top of the swing, the left arm is still straight. Maybe just the slightest bit bent, but for the most part, it's staying pretty straight. You might be wondering, why is it so important to keep your left arm straight? Good question. Keeping your left arm straight allows you to get in a wide and powerful position at the top. For most golfers, there's so much that goes into the swing that it can be overwhelming and really confusing. That's actually why I've created what I call the binary system. It's a very simple swing philosophy and swing system, which really helps you simplify how you think of the golf swing, and it breaks it down into really only 2 main pieces. I'm not going to go into that specific system today, but if you're curious to learn more about that, you might want to check out my ebook and audiobook that I've linked in the description below. It also includes 33 simple techniques and tips that you can immediately apply to your game to get better. So to recap, make sure your left arm is dominant during the backswing, and be sure to keep that left arm as straight as possible so you set yourself up for a wide and powerful position at the top.
Hey everyone, you're probably here because you're unsure on what to do with your weight distribution. This is going to be a short and quick video on how to shift your weight. I'm going to let the video play once through at full speed so you can see what a normal swing looks like with the proper weight distribution. At address, you'll notice my weight is evenly distributed between both feet. The weight is relaxed in the middle of my feet and mainly on the arches and the heels of my feet. That's where you want yours to be. On the next swing, when I stop the video on the way back, you'll notice that the weight shifts to the inside of the right foot where the animation is. It shouldn't be on the outside of your right foot, rather the inside. At the top of my swing where I've stopped the video, about 80% of my weight is on the inside of my right foot. So be careful not to shift your weight on the outside of your right foot. This will cause you to lose control and balance. After impact, you want your weight all the way on your left side. Get your weight to the left side after impact and use your back foot as a stabilizer to support a nice high follow through.
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the content. Be sure to subscribe, leave a like, and let me know what you think. Give me your feedback. Would love to hear from you. Thanks so much.
Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm sharing a super simple yet incredibly effective technique that will help you build a more powerful golf swing. If you're struggling to get distance and create power in your swing, stick with me because what I'm about to share is easy enough for really any golfer of any skill level to implement. It's a technique that you can apply to your backswing right away, and trust me, it's not as hard as you think. So let's get right into the content. I recently posted a video where I shared 2 simple tips on how to improve your backswing and your takeaway. If you haven't checked that out, I'd recommend watching that video first and then coming back to this one. It's kind of a prerequisite to what we're gonna go into today. I'll link it for you here if you wanna check it out. Now, I'm assuming that you watched that video and that you're keeping your left arm dominant and straight on the way back. So now we can talk about unlocking your backswing for more power and distance. In order to do that, you want to ensure that you're completing a full shoulder turn. Why? Because a full shoulder turn is what helps you create power. It's what enables you to create torque by separating your upper body rotation from your lower body. And that separation creates energy that can be translated into club head speed if used correctly. You might be wondering what I mean by a full shoulder turn. Well, let's take a closer look at the video I've got on the screen. Notice how at the top of the backswing, the back is facing the target and the shoulders are in a vertical position for the most part. Well, this is what I would suggest that you strive for. This is what I mean by a full shoulder turn. Getting your back to the target at the top of your swing allows you to get in a leveraged and powerful position. One way to achieve a full shoulder turn is by feeling your lead shoulder, so that would be your left shoulder if you're a right-handed golfer, moving down and toward the golf ball during the backswing. If your lead shoulder is coming underneath your chin during the backswing, you know you're likely making a full shoulder turn. And if you're doing that while keeping your left arm straight and dominant, you're gonna set yourself up for a very powerful position at the top. Now, one mistake that you'll wanna avoid is lifting your arms too quickly. Lots of golfers make that mistake of immediately lifting their arms in an effort to complete the shoulder turn. You wanna stay away from that. The arms and the club should rotate around the spine, allowing the shoulders to make a nice rotation. Notice in the video that I'm showing that the arms are just rotating around the body and the spine angle is staying the same. Well, having your arms rotate around you will help that body-arm separation that I talked about earlier. So try working with this shoulder rotation next time you're playing. And hey, if this is your first time, welcome. I'm Mario. I'm a scratch golfer and I give you tips, strategies, and techniques on how to get better at golf. So if you're into that, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, and let me know what you thought about today's video. So let's recap before we leave. I want to leave you with 2 simple tips as to not overwhelm you. Number 1, focus on keeping your left arm straight during the backswing. And number 2, focus on rotating your lead shoulder down and toward the ball during your backswing. Hey everyone, in this video, I'm gonna give you 2 tips on how to better transition from the backswing to the downswing. I'm also going to talk about a common mistake that I see, so let's dive right in. Before you start your downswing, you need to make sure that you're in a good position at the top of your swing. And one way to get in a good position at the top of your backswing is by making a very deliberate low and slow takeaway. I'm not going to go into too much detail of the takeaway in this video, but I have created a short and very helpful downloadable PDF that I'll leave in the comment section below that you can take with you and reference, so be sure to grab that. When I talk about getting in a good backswing position, for the most part what I mean by that is that you have your left arm straight, there's a wide separation between your arms and your body, and you haven't swayed too much off of center by rotating your arms around your body. I actually recently did a video where I give you a couple of simple drills and talk about 3 mistakes that I commonly see during the backswing. I'll link that one here if you want to take a look at it. Now, once you're in that position at the top, one of the things that I see many golfers do is immediately start releasing their hips to help generate power, like you're seeing in the video. In my opinion, that's a big mistake. Many golfers think that they have to immediately rotate their hips to start the downswing. Well, I think it can definitely help you hit it further if you do that, but only if your timing is absolutely impeccable. But if you're anything like me, that actually happens pretty rarely. What most golfers aren't thinking about are the implications that rotating and twisting and lunging your hips immediately has on the rest of your golf swing. For example, notice in this video that when I immediately throw my hips to generate power at the start of the downswing, that it actually starts to throw my arms off the intended swing path. It actually starts to misalign things, and now you're having to start trying to sync things up and properly execute it on the way down. And it becomes really hard. And ultimately your upper body and your lower body are not in sync anymore. I'm not saying that you can't swing that way. It's just not the way that I would recommend you do it. So what you want to do at the top of your swing are really two things. And here are the two tips. So tip number one, keep your hips and your lower body quiet. And what I mean by quiet is that you let your hips be reactive. Just let them react to the pulling of your arms. Don't automatically rotate your hips to try and generate power. This might be really contradictory to what most instructors will teach out there, but I'm a firm believer that the backswing doesn't start with the twisting of the hips. Keeping your hips quiet will actually allow you to get your arms out in front of you so that you have room to come through impact from the inside position. And tip number two, but before I go into it, do me a favor and make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button if you like this video, so you don't miss out on any videos I post to help you play better golf. So tip number two, you want to begin your downswing by pulling your arms, your elbows, and your triceps. It should feel like you're whipping a rope through the impact zone. Your forearms and your hands should feel like they're following or trailing rather than them being forced down through impact. Why? Because the pulling of the triceps and the elbows allows you to stay on your intended swing path. And it allows you to come from an inside position through impact, which is what you want. And it allows your arms to stay out in front of your body, which gives you room to come through impact properly. If you rotate your hips as the first move down, that can really start to throw things off, in my opinion. So try practicing with this technique. You don't even need a golf club to do so. Just get in a position at the top of your backswing and make a number of repetitions where you're keeping your back to the target and allowing your arms to stay out in front of your body, like you're seeing in the video. Comment below and let me know what you've been taught. Is this contrary to what maybe you've been taught in the past? Have you been told to start your hips as the first move down? Either way, if you've liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And don't forget to check out some of my other content here on YouTube. Thanks for watching.
Hey everyone, not sure what your feet should be doing during the swing? In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to improve your footwork. I'm actually going to break down a live swing of mine to show you what's all going on in a very short amount of time. So the first thing you want to do is check your alignment with your feet. Are your toes and your heels parallel to your target line? Make sure that they are. You can see the lines on the screen that I've put that I'm referring to that make them parallel. Are your knees slightly bent? If not, you're probably too upright. So give yourself a little room to feel comfortable and to get in an athletic position. You can see that both of my knees are slightly bent, allowing me to get in an athletic position to make a swing. So focus on really getting in an athletic position, and those 2 checkpoints will help you do that. Secondly, check your weight distribution at setup. Where is the majority of your weight at address? For a full swing, you don't want your weight too far forward or too much on your heels. You want your weight on the arches of your feet, as you can see mine are. During the swing, let your left leg break to give you room to rotate back. Notice this angle here. Your left leg stays locked in place, so you have something to pin your weight up against. And at the same time, your right leg is being used as an anchor. Fourth, on your downswing, keep your right leg patient until your upper body is able to come through. And once you're able to get your upper body down closer to impact, your right leg will naturally, and the key word is naturally, begin to break in towards the ball, and you can use this as leverage for more power through impact. And for the last and final tip, make sure your left leg naturally straightens as you get through impact. Don't force it, it'll happen on its own. Some people try and keep this left leg bent, but that's a mistake. Let it naturally extend and release itself. So for more training, check out my ebook that I posted for you. This will give you tons of training and advice on how to improve your golf game. You can find
The backswing doesn't have to be as complicated as it seems, but I see a few really big mistakes that golfers make over and over again. In this video, I'm going to share exactly what they are, and I'll show you how to fix them so you can start swinging better and playing your best golf. So let's get right into it. So mistake number 1, and just so you know, I'll put a free download in the comment section below so you have something to take with you after you watch this video. But mistake number 1 is flaring your right arm. When you bring the club back, you want to make sure that you're keeping your right arm close to your body on the way back. This is going to help you keep your swing on the right path back, and it'll help allow for a proper club rotation around your body. I recently posted a video talking about some simple and effective tips that you can do to improve your backswing, and one tip that I talked about was keeping your left arm straight. I'll link that video for you here if you want to check it out. As your left arm leads on the way back, your right arm is really there to help guide it properly. And you do that by keeping it closely tucked into the right side of your body. But when it starts to flare too much, it starts to move the club off its intended path, and flaring your arm forces the club vertical and leads to a really steep shaft angle, which is hard to recover from. So to fix this, feel like your right arm is snug to your body, as if you're trying not to, open your arm or your armpit. One drill that I like to do is to put a towel or even a club head cover under my right armpit and then make a swing. Try to make sure that it doesn't fall out when you swing, and if it does, your right arm is likely flaring too much. Mistake number 2 is bringing the club inside too quickly. One of the main reasons that golfers hit fat shots and slice so much is because they get themselves in a bad position right at the start of their swing. So when you take the club away too quickly to the inside, many golfers compensate and end up bringing the club over the top during the downswing, which will likely cause you to come across the ball at impact and ultimately slice. So to fix this, practice a takeaway that feels deliberate, where the club head stays low to the ground and moves back slowly. I did a video on this exact topic where I talk about a low and slow drill. I'll link that video for you here as well if you want to check it out. This low and slow drill prevents you from rushing and pulling the club inside too quickly. And mistake number 3 is so important and one that I see golfers doing the most. But before I go into it, if you like this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any videos that I post to help you play better golf. All right, so mistake number 3 is swaying too much. Swaying too much shifts your weight outside your trail foot instead of maintaining it on the inside edge, which makes it really difficult to maintain your center of gravity and your balance and your stability throughout the swing. And this can lead to all sorts of negative outcomes, but most importantly, an inconsistent swing. So to fix this, focus on rotating your arms around the body and keep your weight on the inside edge of your trail foot during the backswing to prevent your hips from sliding too much. A drill that helps is placing a rolled up towel or even a golf ball under the outside edge of your trail foot at address. This actually props up the outer edge slightly, encouraging you to keep your weight on the inside of your trail foot. Take slow back swings, focus on keeping pressure on the inside edge of your trail foot. So these are some of the biggest mistakes that I see. So what I've done is I've actually set up a stake here, and I'm actually going to share with you a mistake that I see a lot of amateur golfers today doing when taking away the golf club from the ball. So I've got a stake set up here. The first mistake that I see from a lot of amateur golfers is taking back the club too far inside too quickly. So what I mean by that is if I've got a stake here going just left of my target, I see a lot of amateur golfers taking the club back too quickly inside that way, and it gets caught back here, and they can't really get it around through impact quick enough. So to make sure that you're taking the club back properly, lay a stake down and check yourself halfway. If the club is parallel and in line with the stake on the ground, you know that you're not taking it back too far in the inside too quickly. The mistake that I see most often from amateur golfers is that they take away the club too far outside too quickly. And what I mean by that is when taking away the club from the ball, they tend to take it outside. So they're pushing the club too far outside too quickly. A drill that you can do to make sure that you're bringing back the club properly is lay a stake down, a stake pointed just left of your target, and check halfway back to make sure that the club is in line with the stake that you have here on the ground.
As a beginner golfer, we need to start with the fundamentals, and those include the stance, posture, grip, weight transfer, backswing and downswing, and your follow through. So let's start with your stance. From the front view, I like the width of your stance. Your feet are as wide as your shoulders, so really good. For a full swing, keep your feet shoulder width apart as a general rule of thumb. And as you get better, you'll be able to get more fancy with your footwork, but for right now, keep your stance as wide as your shoulders for full swings. Now let's move to your posture. From this back view, we're a bit too hunched over. We want to have an athletic position, but your knees are a little too bent at this point. So let's stand up a bit more. Let's stand taller. This may require you to move an inch or two closer to the ball, and that's okay. And take a look at the image on the right. Notice the difference in these positions. So stand a bit taller and let your arms hang naturally. Next, let's look at your grip. If we zoom into this front view, your right hand is really strong. Having a strong grip will make your club close on the way back. And your left hand is also very strong. Again, this will close the club face on the backswing. So we want your right hand turned over to the left so that the line that your index finger and thumb, when pressed together, make point to the center of your chest. So check out the grip videos that I've linked for you, which talks about the proper grip. Looking at your backswing, you do a phenomenal job of just bringing your arms back on the backswing and letting your upper body naturally rotate and turn back. Great job. Now, if I stop the video halfway back, we can see where the club begins to close immediately due to your grip being strong, as we just talked about. This is what a closed club face looks like. So check out the video that I've linked for you. It'll talk more about how your grip impacts what the club does on the way back and through impact. On your downswing, we begin to come over the top. This is what's causing your slice. Your hands come a bit forward at the top of your swing, and it results in coming across the ball through impact. So focus on dropping your arms and elbows and your triceps immediately down from the top of your position. This will help you come from the inside through impact rather than across it. And lastly, we need to get your weight transferred completely onto your left foot when you finish. In this finishing position, your weight is between both feet. Check out the image I have on the screen. Notice the difference in these finishing positions. So focus on getting your back left foot completely up in the air when you finish. This will help you make a better rotation through the ball. So be sure to check out the videos that I've linked for you. I know that you'll find a ton of value in them. Until next time, thanks so much for reaching out, Dan.
I'm going to share a secret to hitting the ball on average 5 to 10 yards farther. And you know the best part? It's really easy. No crazy swing changes, no expensive lessons, just a simple training method that can help you swing faster and hit the ball farther. Plus, I'll walk you through a simple drill that will help you start seeing results right away. So let's get right into it. One of the most frustrating parts of golf can be losing distance. And without a doubt, there are certainly a lot of different ways and techniques to increase distance. But at the end of the day, one of the most effective and easiest ways to hit the ball farther is by simply increasing your swing speed. And one of the best ways to train for faster swing speed is through speed training. And that's where weighted training clubs come in handy, like Ripstick. Ripstick is an all-in-one training club designed to help you develop a faster, more explosive swing and increase your swing speed. And what's great about it is that it's adjustable. It has 8 different weight combinations that you can adjust to your desired weight. It's designed at the length of a driver, so it feels very natural in your hands. And you can train anywhere with it, whether you're at home, in the garage, at the course. You can see I'm training with it at an indoor golf simulator. For the longest time, I would warm up with 2 clubs in my hand, but after using the Ripstick, I've noticed a real difference in how fast I can swing. Here's a simple drill you might want to consider to help you with your swing speed. Find an open area where you won't hit anything. If you're at the driving range or at the practice tee, make sure that you're not near anything and grab the Ripstick. Now, start swinging as fast as you can for about 30 to 50 reps. No ball, no restrictions, just swing as hard as you can and really focus on swinging aggressively during your warm-up. Swing out of your comfort zone. Your goal is to swing out of your comfort zone and start pushing your limits. Don't hold back, This drill is about speed, not control. And really feel yourself using the ground for power, driving off your trail foot. Make sure that you're making a big shoulder turn and fully rotating to maximize the coil in your swing. After a few sessions doing this, you'll start to feel your normal swing speed increasing. Your body gets used to moving faster than usual, which carries over into your normal swing. And what's nice about using a weighted club is that the next time you swing an actual club, it doesn't feel as heavy as it normally does. And it's super simple to use. You can keep it right in your bag with you, so you always have it available to use. If you want to try it out, use my code Mario10 for money off. I'll leave a link in the comment section below. I really like using the ripstick, and I'll definitely keep it in my bag. And by the way, they also make another really cool training club called the Butter Blade, which is really interesting for improving your ball striking. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to do a video on that training aid as well. And if you like this type of instructional content, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.